Hi, Teresa. How are you doing?
Hi, Nicole. Good. How about yourself?
I'm good. Thank you for taking your time and being interviewed with me.
Well, I really want to thank you for inviting me. I'm very honored to be here today, and I think that the message that you're sharing of love, compassion, and strength is just so important for people to hear. So, thank you so much for inviting me to be here today.
I want to go start with this question, if you don't mind. How does it, how is it different from the State Council on Developmental Disabilities? Because I am a council member.
So, the Policy Center is different from the State Council on Developmental Disabilities in a couple of different ways. One, the State Council is it's created through law. It's a state agency, but California Policy Center for Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities is being established as a nonprofit organization. So we're different in our structure, but also I think one of the big things that we were thinking about is the state plan that you guys create at the state council really helps us identify not just the state priorities, but also the goals and objectives of how to achieve that state plan, right? So how do you identify it, and then how do you get there? I see the state council as absolutely essential partner for us, because I think through our work in our strategic plan and identifying in our strategic plan what some of the state priorities are, we can work together by collaborating on those priorities, really big ones like employment and housing, and use some of our resources in policy analysis and research, what best practices are, maybe what other states are doing to help inform us and help develop some of the policy recommendations to advance those priorities. So that's kind of like, I think, the main differences in how, what we do versus the state council.
Like I have to process what you just said for myself, but so like it's a lot of good information and I really appreciate that a lot. Thinking about and talking about the policy center, why was the policy center started and what is it trying to accomplish this year?
Their original vision for the policy center was that it would be a resource for the IDD community, as well as the legislature and the administration when it comes to analyzing statewide policies that impact people with IDD and their families. So what does that mean? Well, that was the concept, that was the idea. And then, developing that idea, the focus of the policy center really kind of evolved to be a policy center where we really communicate and collaborate with a wide range of stakeholders in the community to identify the priorities and the challenges, and then working together with all the stakeholders to improve upon policies that are already existing.
That's amazing. Um, I want a little bit to get to know you a little bit more as well. So, can you tell me more about your journey, working with people with disabilities sector before starting the Public Policy Center for IDD?
Sure. I think you and I first met, it's been a while, but I was still at the Arc of California as their public policy director. So it was a few years ago, and I think I heard you speaking. So it's been a while, but that was prior to coming to California Policy Center. But actually, I started my journey when I was in high school, and there was an elective option in high school to be a teacher's aide in the special ed classrooms. So my junior year, I started supporting individuals in the special ed class. But I think more meaningful to me and bigger than that was through that elective, through that opportunity, I met somebody in the special ed class. His name was Paulie, and we became really, really good friends. And over the years, it was just this incredible friendship. But he gave me so much more confidence in I will say, in a really unique way, because he taught me that I could support people to live as independent as possible in the community. He gave me the confidence to really pursue supporting people as a job as a so I went on after school and be after high school and became a direct support professional for several years. And that was obviously before my interest in public policy, but the idea of living, working, playing in your community wasn't as common then as it is now. So it was kind of a big deal. And we really looked at big issues like um access to appropriate healthcare, housing, employment. And I mean, I don't even know where to begin with the criminal justice system because of the inequities there. But overall, I mean, I think that public policy lens for me was born out of the challenges that I saw supporting people. And I really like that you use the word journey when you're referring to working in the disability sector, because it really is a journey that I think we all take together. From my perspective, over the last 30 years that I've been on this journey, I'm just humbled and I'm in awe of some of the incredibly fierce advocates that I've had a chance to get to know and work with, such as yourself. That you guys, the advocates that I've worked with are the voices and the champions of disability justice. So that's where I see, the journey for me personally, and my experience is just that the movement and the voices of the self advocates is so incredible.
That's amazing. I also want to talk about like in October, there's National Disability Employment Awareness Month.
Mhm.
Tell me what you think was the biggest barrier for people with disabilities getting employment.
Yeah, that's a very complex question. I guess it can be complex, but it could also be, kind of an easy question in some ways, because I think that a lot of factors come together to limit opportunities for meaningful employment for people with IDD. But if I had to pick one, this is why I say it's easy. It's not easy to fix, but it's easy to identify. And that's fear. I think, one of the greatest barriers that I've come to learn about over the years is that people fear losing their SSI benefits if they work, if they, it's a real fear. And I think that fear and the current system we have, it kind of incentivizes unemployment because of that concern that you won't, have your benefits, you won't have your housing, you won't have some of the other essential things for a living. So, I mean, we hear stories frequently, sadly enough, of people who did lose their benefits, and then, because they worked for maybe a few months or 6 months or a year, and then something happened where they were not able to work, continue in that job, and then going through the process of redetermination. And, it just, it is so challenging and so complex to navigate in and out of the employment sector, I guess, if you will, for lack of a better word, that sometimes it's easier for people to just say it's not worth it. And I think that's very sad to me, because we limit that fear limits people's opportunities. That's a very complex issue. But if you ask me, I think that, the issue of benefits is just a big challenge for people. And, we need people to help navigate that world a little bit better, and support people in and out of their employment.
I have one of those stories myself about ISSS also, and but I don't lose my benefits, so I'm grateful for that. But um, you see what I'm doing as a public figure and
Mhm.
as a inspirational speaker as my passion, and then this show. And I feel like when I do get X amount of money, they take away my benefits. So I have to talk about that too for myself. Like, but I wish I can have one credit card for like X amount of money and don't worry about my benefits. That's what I feel like. Lose it or not, I don't want to deal with it anymore. Like, that's another stressor for myself. It's like if I have a lot of money already in the bank, you know what happens afterwards.
Yeah. And why should you be limited to, not being able to have a credit? What if you saw a pair of shoes or something you really wanted, right? Like
Yeah.
why should it be different for you than any other person? And that's
Yes.
what I think the issue is, right? We're incentivizing poverty within the disability community by limiting opportunities out of fear of losing benefits. There's got to be a better way. So if you can work and be employed and pay into Social Security, and you're right, why can't you have a credit card?
You know what? Can I have a credit card so I can, for example, when I in the future, what if I want to get IVF or raising a family on my own, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And that's what I appreciate about the No Show, because you are bringing up issues that they're very big issues. They're hard to, there's no right answer, but if we don't at least talk about them, we also don't get the opportunity to look for answers.
So I want to give you the platform for anything that you want to talk about, really.
Unless we are all willing to hear each other, not accept their perspective or something, but at least hear each other. We're not going to get anywhere. And so part of what, I think is so important about your show is the opportunity to do that, to hear how people feel, to hear their perspectives, but also understanding that if we use love and compassion as our guide, like you're doing, I think those tough conversations can be had in a respectful way. And I'm not sure, I know that there's all kinds of things that are controversial and people have very strong beliefs and very strong opinions. But those strong opinions and those strong beliefs should never lead to violence. I think that would be my biggest hope in my platform. If I had the ability to say that, is yes, let's listen, let's hear. Great minds can differ. You can have disagreements and different opinions, but violence is never the answer.
I love that. So thank you for letting me interview you, but I would love to do some rapid fire with you. Is that okay?
You got it.
If you aren't doing the career you have now, what other career would you do?
Oh, that's good. Maybe I would like to be a judge. That would be a good job.
What is the best advice someone has given you?
Mm. Follow your heart. Be true to yourself.
Who has influenced your life?
My family, for sure.
What is something that nobody knows about you?
Not very many people know that I did the ghost pepper challenge, which I will never do again.
Since this is the no-no show, I would like to ask you, what do you think a big no-no in our modern society?
The no is just not knowing what to ask for or how to engage in conversation that's uncomfortable.
So thank you for letting me interview you. I really appreciate it a lot.
You are so welcome. It's been my pleasure. And I hope we get to work together throughout the years on different things, because I think you are an amazing advocate.